The prayer will be offered by the guest chaplain, the Reverend Kevin Cottrell Ross, Unity of Sacramento, Sacramento, California.
Kevin is regarded as a respected interfaith social justice leader, committed to building bridges of understanding and cooperation across race, culture, class, and religious lines. Whether in his role leading one of the nation's most diverse and integrated congregations, conducting diversity and implicit bias trainings, or being an outspoken activist for healing the crisis between law enforcement and communities of color, Kevin is dedicated to strengthening communities through dialogue, direct encounter, and education. Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me in welcoming Reverend Kevin Ross and thank him for offering today's opening prayer in the U.S. House of Representatives.
May we turn within and look higher to the God of our understanding and pray. Loving presence, we invoke from the celestial balconies the witness of the pioneers of our progress, whose bloody journeys marshaled an unprecedented faith and birthed a new nation of radical inclusion. Bless these sons and daughters of promise gathered in this, the people's house. Let them reach higher for crowns of conscience to exemplify compassion and bring from their districts to their desks sharp pencils that carve on their hearts the faces of freedom that they represent. Let this house be an incubator for our best ideas and not a prison for our poorest politics. Let these heroes and sheroes of the people's house summon the intellectual imagination and the intuitive navigation to serve bolder together and break through the ideological gridlock that arrests the potential of our great republic. Let these innovators of cooperation and builders of the beloved community reunite these states of America and lead the way for a world that works for all. This is enough. In the name of a love supreme, we pray, and so it is. Amen and amen. Can you hear me well? Yes. How many of you recognize that the universe is calling for an awakened consciousness to help bring this world back together? Who knows what I'm talking about? And the good news and the bad news is you're it. Tell somebody on your left and right. Tell them you're it. Today, it's a privilege to be on these sacred grounds, our Unity Village, world headquarters in this phenomenal sacred chapel, to stand in the great shoes or flip-flops, as it were, of my beloved sister, who is literally taking seriously the charge to grow our unity movement. She's all in. I like your commitment, Reverend Erin. When you say grow the movement, you're on it. So it's a delight to be with you and to be with all of our colleagues and friends in Unity. I bring you greetings from the northwest coast of the country at Unity of Sacramento, where I get the privilege of serving and herding cats. I mean, serving serving as the senior minister now in my 8th year there, alongside my beautiful brother and friend, the Reverend Erin Donaldson, who is now the senior associate minister. I want to begin talking to you this morning from a subject that I would like for you to contemplate for the rest of your life. The topic is your purpose is your power, answering your call to greatness. Can we say this in the first person? My purpose is my power, answering my call to greatness. I'm going to call two names that you will recognize: Anthony Bourdain, Kate Spade. I'm willing to bet that despite how much success they attained and obtained, popularity that they gained, prosperity in material forms that they amassed, somewhere along the way, this idea that their purpose is their power was missing for them. Somehow we get it mixed up. Somehow we think that our purpose is our personality, or our power is our personality, or our power is our popularity, or our power is our pension, or our power is our possessions. But I'm telling you this morning that your purpose is your power. And if you are here like either of them who had not received this message, that is not what you get and attain in the world of material effects, or the lauding of those around you, the approval. Anybody in here addicted to the approval of others? Come on and confess it and get it over with. I'm telling you that because you have a purpose, it means that you were meant and sent to be here, and that is enough. Your purpose gives you permission to live free from the opinions, the judgments, the criticisms, and the rejections of the world around you. High five somebody and say, that's good news. Go ahead and tell them that is. I know that there are many of my colleagues present, ministers who are present, and that's one of the things that we often have to navigate. This dynamic between living our purpose but making sure that people get our purpose. And it's a struggle. It can be difficult at times because sometimes the times indicate what a leader or a person may need to do with his or her purpose. And sometimes it may be unpopular to act in your purpose. But because you and I are both meant and sent to be here, then it is not for us to take our direction from the external. Tell somebody, return to the sender. Go ahead and tell them, return. If you get thrown off as far as moving through life, I want you to return to the what? I want you to return to the sender. And the sender will always send you to the center of your being. You and I are an unfolding idea in the mind of Spirit, in the mind of God. You and I are a bright idea in the mind of God. Now, I know our parents didn't think that always. Like, what was God thinking about? Come on, point to something. I am a bright idea in the mind of God. And so we may not always have it together. We may not always understand what it is that I must do in this particular moment. But I'm telling you, you are not without help. You are not without support if you are willing to return, come on, to the center. I love this quote by Charles Fillmore, and everybody knows it. He says, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and leap forth with a mighty faith to do that which ought to be done. And he was a show-off saying this like in his early 80s. Showing off in his 80s, leaping with zeal and enthusiasm. So what about us when we feel that we are not leaping with zeal and enthusiasm because we find ourselves plagued and locked into the apathetic, low energy vibration that we're finding around the world? Sometimes I don't feel like leaping with zeal and enthusiasm. Sometimes I want to speak in other tongues, and they're not the tongues of angels. You know what I'm talking about? What in the bleep is going on in our world? And will someone else come and do something about it? Who knows what I'm talking about? Tell somebody nearby, you're the ones we've been looking for. I'm often asked about this, but why am I here? Fundamentally, we're here to be expressions of love. We're here to find how we can partner our passion with our purpose. We're here to unfold this divine idea that we're in the mind of spirit. Rev Kev wrote in his book a little something here. Open to page 12. I'm messing with you. He says, this is the life, the designer life is the life triumphant, where the life designer is victorious over circumstances, a positive transformer of community, and a leader in society. It is a life where you win each day because you are living a life built on your values, in conformity with your desires, in service to your purpose, in harmony with your fellow man, and in love with life itself. In fact, the secret behind it all is love. You are most triumphant when you are suspended in a moment where you are living the life you love and love the life you live. It is in such a life that you welcome living in creative tension. Your desire for more is constantly rubbing up against the appearance of not enough. Notice I said it's the appearance of not enough. If you're willing to release your creative impulses, they will dissolve those feelings of not enough. When you live in response to this impulse and answer the longing of your heart, you are triumphant because you have demonstrated your power to use your life as a solution to the pressing demands of the world. Point to yourself and say, I'm a solution. So how do I get to be that solution? Number one, stop judging yourself as not enough, as insufficient, and comparing yourself to someone who may have it a little more together. Do you know they have it less together than you do? They are equally preoccupied with the same kind of thing that you are. They just worked a little better to clean it up. Don't judge yourself. You're already qualified. You're already approved. How do we do it? I love what Howard Thurman says. He says, don't ask for what the world needs. ask what makes you come alive and go and do that, because what the world needs are people who have come alive. And so my question to you this morning is, what makes you come alive? What inspires you? What challenges you to go out there where the big ships float, out there where the great ones are? What gets your blood boiling? Now, sometimes what gets your blood boiling could be that thing that gets you angry. Anything tick you off lately? We have some professional complainers here. But the same dynamic that ticks you off is the same dynamic that fires you up. I was in Sacramento at a time when I thought I was functioning in my purpose. I'm leading my ministry as usual. Everything is going in a very unity sort of way. You know, we're piecing along. We are the international get-along gang. Who knows what I'm talking about? In unity, the get-along gang. Everybody's getting along, holding hands in peace. And I can say it, you know. And watching the news one night, we get the word that a young man was chased by police into his grandmother's backyard and shot at over 20 times, 6 of those bullets reaching him in the back. The news was that he was somehow a threat to the officers because they believe he was armed. He had a cell phone in his hand, and he was not facing them. He was shot in the back. Now, you must understand that in that moment, everything that I thought I had prepared for, and everything that I felt my unique calling was, started to be activated. And so I waited one day. I'm a part of this leadership group. I waited one day for members of our American Leadership Forum to start sending emails, and somebody organizing, somebody's going to do something, and I'll join in. Nobody did. So I started writing. And I wrote a letter, and I organized some friends and got along with other leaders. And here's what came up as clear as day: not on my watch. That you may be preparing your whole life, thinking your life is about one thing, and that preparation will lead you into a moment where all of your gifts, all of your talents, all of your passions will be called to bear, and you cannot resist it. It is just like the bursting open of a flower when the right conditions have been established. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to force it, you don't have to manipulate the thing. The moment will find you. Just make sure it finds you prepared. Are you willing? That's it. And myself and a few other leaders, we got together and we said, not on our watch. And when I say that Sacramento is dense with clergy of all faiths and backgrounds, I mean it's dense with clergy. And among the hundreds, 5 of us stepped forward. And we led protests in the city. And before I knew it, 1,000 of us were shutting down a freeway. And then we shut down the basketball arena. And we were keeping people's lives safe while we were doing it, because not everybody had trained. I went to Morehouse College, so I trained in this nonviolent work. And so we found ourselves in the middle of something huge. Not every one of us is willing to do that. But I'm telling you that the sender The sender has need of you, and that's why you're there. My invitation to us, however it shows up for you, is be willing to exercise the intestinal fortitude and the ovarian audacity the courage that the moment is calling for. And you know what the moment is calling for? Unifiers. What is the moment calling for? Unifiers. We have enough dividers. We have enough people who have qualified themselves to sufficiently disrupt harmony and peace and cooperation and a world that works for everyone, yes? But there are not enough of us who are willing to step forth and lean in. Everybody lean in. Come on, lean in. Lean in and be a unifier. It's difficult to be a unifier when it's easier to blame someone else. And I find that that's why we're here right now. We're here to answer that call. And guess what, beloved? It only takes a heart full of love and a soul generated by grace and a willingness to move forward one step at a time. And what you will find, undoubtedly, is that your forward steps will give permission for others to do the same. For others to do the same. So whatever you're up to, whatever your current work is, whatever it is that you have been given to do at this particular time, as Dr. Benjamin Elijah May said, strive to do what you do so well that no man living, no man dead, no man yet unborn can do it any better. And as you get in the business of doing you the best you know how, a bridge of incident that you need not consciously devise will avail itself to you in common hours, and you'll find yourself in the middle of a transformational moment in our world, in our lifetime. Your purpose is your power. And your power is for good. My challenge this morning to all of us is to be a force for good in this world. Be a force for love in this world. Be a force for cooperation and peace in this world. Be a force that disrupts the disruption. Be a force. And by the way, you don't have forever to get to it. You have only just a minute. Only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon you, can't refuse it, didn't seek it, didn't choose it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give an account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute. But an eternity is in it. Let's make the most of our moments, beloved. And so it is written, and so I've spoken it, and so you have heard it, and so it is. Amen and amen.